John, halfway through the season, how are things looking? Tough, I guess.
Weather-wise, it's great. Rate-wise, for the consumer, it's great. But overall, business would be 2% down on occupancy on this time last year, which is extremely good in the climate we're in, but would be 18% behind in revenue. And that's the big problem. Because in our particular operation, we need the revenue because we don't have many strings to our bow, and that's the pinch that is hurting most.
But I suppose the addition of the Samos Spa must have made a great difference to your business.
Genuinely, I wouldn't believe we would be here if we didn't build it 6 years ago, and thankfully it has worked tremendously. And only last week we won another wonderful award for it, and it's great, even with all the developments that have happened in the country in the last 5-6 years in the spa world, that we're still able to win those major awards. So that is great. But it's a huge cost space, but it is one that has brought huge business to us, and if genuinely we would not be here today and open if we'd remained with the package that we had 7 years ago.
And has it changed your source market?
Yes, our business would have totally changed, but it was probably going to change anyway, because the dependency and the level of American business that sustained a business like this back in the late 1990s and early 2000s just isn't here anymore. So the business was going to change. So that's why I think if we didn't build Salvis and if we didn't build the pool that we opened last year, we would have been in grave difficulty.
Yeah, which proves yet again that even when business is good, you've got to be looking to the future, because customers...
Well, thankfully, and I don't think we're alone on this, I think that the Celtic Tiger years have been very good to the hospitality industry. I think the core product in Ireland today is a million times better than it would have been in the mid-90s even. And the quality and the variety of products that we have here to world-class standard is unbelievable. Like, even if you look at any of the world readers' polls, the Condé Nast or the Travel and Leisures or Gourmets or any of those, Ireland, out of the top 100 in the world, would probably have 5 or 6 places in it. And when you think of the size of the country and the way people travel today, 5 or 6 places coming from this little island is phenomenal.
That's true, and we shouldn't forget that, because even though there's loads of bad news around this year in terms of numbers down, but we'll still, worst case scenario, do 7 million overseas visitors to Ireland this year, and that's a phenomenal achievement from where we were 5 years ago.
It is, but I often wonder, did they just go into the airport, turn around and go out again? Because it is hard to understand sometimes where those people are on the ground. And I think the country has got bigger physically, insofar we're 32 county now, whereas back in old days we were only 26 counties. And even when we were 26 counties, you could take a geographical line from Galway to Dublin and go south of that. Now the country's footfall can go twice as far, so it has been split. So if those numbers are coming in the numbers that are reported, and I think there's another element of that which often goes overlooked, is the length of time they come for.
Yes, that's true. That is shortening all the time.
So if a person comes for 14 days and a person comes for a weekend, huge difference in the return to the national exchequer, and I think we're being that's a good point. Period
something we need to keep an eye on. Well, I think a lot of people would be very happy with the results that you're showing so far this year, but how about the rest of the year, and looking forward briefly to next year? How do you feel it's shaping up?
I think we're brave to look to next month, never mind next year, the way we are at the moment. Next year is far too early for us, and really we wouldn't know anything about next year probably till March or April of next year. And that's the way our business is. We don't do coach tour business, we don't have any long lead-in business. It's strange actually, because our lead-in time for our internet bookings, which I would believe, without looking at the stats, would be very short term, is actually 54 days, which is quite amazing. That people go online 2 months before and book online to do it, when people perceive it to be a last minute thing. So that also puts into question what rate you are online and how relevant is it to last minute availability. In a location like this, Dublin city centre footfall, totally different ball game, but in a location like this, 54-day lead-in on the internet is quite long, I would think. But it is, that's the way it is.
Well, John, well done this year so far. Let's hope that it turns out better than we expect, and usually we expect the worst in this business, and it rarely is that bad, so hopefully we'll see a turn in events shortly.
Please God.